I wasn't necessarily going to do a update on the dry January today because there's not as much to say, honestly, but I will get to a bit of an update. But then I thought, for reasons we'll all go into, that maybe I would go fetch a non-alcoholic beer that I had been wanting to try, if I was going to try any. It's Surly, and they call it Outlook Good. So we'll get to that in a minute. But as far as the update goes, the sleeping, which I had such a hard time falling asleep, that's getting a little better. So I would estimate that it takes maybe like a half hour, which is not great for an average person, but for me that's okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that's okay. It's better than laying in bed for 2+ hours. What else? The cough and the reflux stuff is the same, which is to say it's a lot better than it was before January, so that has continued to be good. Happy about that. One comment I was gonna make that I thought might be worth talking about for a minute is the weight is about the same, and I have heard so many people say when they stop drinking they just lose these pounds, they just come right off, and I thought it makes a lot of sense. You're taking in hundreds or thousands of calories of alcohol in a week, and in a month it's even more, and I just thought that that might be the same thing for me. I might lose a couple pounds, but I haven't. And I started looking up some things, and I was looking up why do some people not add on as much weight from alcohol, and kind of that angle. And what I found, not this is the end all of the discussion, but yes, people do process it differently, metabolize the calories or weight differently. I did see something about people that are very active may not add on as much weight. I believe I would qualify in that category of doing like more than an hour plus of exercise every single day. So I am wondering if I really don't add on a lot of weight from the calories and the alcohol, because I'm not consuming that, so I have some kind of caloric lessening than I did, and they're not coming up. Anyway, I mean, that wasn't really my main goal. I think for a lot of people, if they cut out the alcohol, they would lose some weight. For me, it doesn't seem to be the case. I find that interesting, but it is what it is. What else? I haven't noticed any other dramatic positive changes, or negative, but I don't know if it could take longer. It's only been 2 weeks. It has been 2 weeks now as of today. It's been full 14 days, 2 weekends of no alcohol, have not had any alcohol. This has less than 0.5%, so there'll be a little bit in there, but yeah, I mean, mood, energy, attitude, springing out of bed with the go-get-em attitude, whatever, like, that's all about the same. I mean, I've never struggled too much with all of that, so it's not been like a dramatic change. It hasn't improved, certainly hasn't gotten worse, but yeah, after 2 weeks, and again, that may not be enough time, but that is not changed. It's not been a problem. There's of course been a couple of times when I feel like, man, it would be nice to have a whiskey, a gin, or whatever, but to this beer, they tell you the hops, Warrior, Citra, Mosaic, so that's nice of them to give you that info. Does have some hop aroma. Well, that is interesting. I mean, it really is not bad. The malts, Golden Promise, Vienna, Carafoam, acidulated honey malt. So it has like quality malts. It would be interesting to know exactly how they make it? You know, did they make a regular beer and then remove the alcohol? I mean, I know this is, the processes are out there and I could look them up. It has a hop aroma, maybe a little bit of the malt in the nose. I mean, it's very light in color. It's very clear. It has some hop bitterness. There's almost like a, I may go look at the yeast. I think it said the yeast. There's almost like a yeast flavor that could possibly be related to like acidulated and honey malt carafoam, like one of these other malt components. There's like a middle body flavor in the back of the throat that's not unpleasant, but I think that's kind of like when you would get like an alcohol flavor or presence, and that's not there, but instead they somehow replace it with this other taste or mouthfeel. It's actually, and there is some hop bitterness and hop flavor. I mean, it's pretty, if you cannot or are not having alcohol and you want a beer-like experience, I would say that it's quite nice. Let me check on the yeast. So it's Lallemand Lona, and I think it's worth reading this for a sec. It says it's a maltose negative hybrid strain that has been selected to have ideal characteristics for the production of low and non-alcoholic beers. Advanced classical and non-GMO breeding methods were used to select a strain that does not consume maltose or maltotriose, resulting in very low attenuation. Maltose negative strain selected for beer fermentations. So what does it ferment? Like, why do they put it in there? So that's interesting. If it doesn't consume those sugars, then what is it consuming? I mean, I'm looking this up on the fly, but that is interesting. And I also wonder then if you do get a residual yeast presence and yeast effect, flavor, body, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it's not too shabby. It's not cheap. It costs the same as alcoholic beer, but it's probably more of a pain and maybe even more expensive in some ways, I'm sure, to make, because it's probably smaller batches than making like their giant batches. But anyway, that's the update. Going well so far. Probably will finish out the month without too much trouble. I don't know if I will go further this time around. I think some of my goals have been achieved as far as realizing not having a physical or mental addiction, and sleeping is a work in progress, but then the cough going away, it's been great. So anyway, that's your update for now. How's it going for you if you're doing it? Catch you later.